What advice would you give to, say, a Simon Harris or whoever it is takes over, who, let's assume that it is Donald Trump for a moment, who wins the presidential election, and they're handing over the bowl of shamrocks?
Well, there's two things I would say. Number one is we have a very unique relationship with Ireland. And I had some conversations that I won't get too into, but when I was in the White House and I had met with some of the folks from the Taoiseach's office during the first visit, and then subsequently, I stayed in touch with some of the folks when Leo took over. And I said to them, like, remember, you guys punch way above your weight. If you think about it, there's no other country that comes over to the United States and captures the attention that happens when the Taoiseach comes. There are dinners and parades and events, and there is such a special bond, very different than any other country, even to England. I mean, the Queen or the Prime Minister comes over and it's nice. There's something that captivates the U.S. when the Taoiseach comes over. And so my first thing is, on the one hand, take advantage of that and understand how much love there is in the United States for this island. But secondly, don't take advantage of it. And what I mean by that is, I saw the Taoiseach this time really lean out on the Hamas thing and almost chide the U.S. And at some point, if this meeting isn't as enjoyable, if it becomes more of a policy discussion than a celebration of our special bond, I don't know how those days go anymore. Does that make sense? Like I
no,
feel
it
like,
does. Because
I feel like right now there's always been so much joy and everybody gets together. If it becomes more of a bilateral meeting on policy issues, the dynamic changes. And that's not to say you can't bring them up, but if you start using the event as a means to advance an agenda, the U.S. government is going to treat it much differently.
Yeah, because that's interesting. There will be a pressure, say if it is Donald Trump, on somebody like Simon Harris, who's kind of would consider himself progressive and liberal, to go over there and
lecture.
And lecture.
And if that
you think that would be bad advice?
Horrible advice. I mean, well, it would be good advice not to do it. It would be horrible to do it. And I say that because they have every right to do it. We cherish our First Amendment right, obviously. But again, it's the nature of this. If another country of this size came over to the United States, they would not get the time and the audience. But because of that relationship that exists. And so if you it's sort of like going to a relative's house for a holiday. It's an enjoyable time. If you start turning it into a debate, they're not going to utilize the dynamic changes.
They
very
mightn't
quickly.
invite you back for the next holiday.
I wasn't going to say that. They might invite you back, but it may be a much more hastened visit.
Yeah, well, is that Donald Trump on a personal level? I mean, is there the likelihood he'd say, "I'm not doing that again next year. I'm not standing there and having that guy lecture me."
And I would say that the default is he owns property here, as you know. He loves talking about the Gulf and everything that Ireland has to offer, and all of the direct financial investment that we have here as a country. But if you threaten that and start to attack him or his policies, he's going to delegate you to a staffer and say, why don't you meet, just like we would, again, with another country. That's how the diplomatic protocol would be such that's how it would go. And as an Irish American, I'd hate to see that. I love the festivities and the relationship that exists over those days that the Taoiseach comes.